Okay, for this program, we're once again going to do the slow, grow, go warm-up, but just focus to this particular program. So we'll be focusing on warming up for the squat pattern and for the push pattern. So first, for the slowing down and getting out of that fight or flight system and getting into parasympathetic rest and digest, let's do a little bit of SMR, self-myofascial release with the foam roller. Just like last program, we're gonna foam roll the quads. So go ahead and come down onto one, kind of a plank position with the upper body, a couple little back and forth movements, just oscillating 2 to 3 inches. And then from there, staying static and doing a little trigger point release. Ooh, always so good. Maybe after about 3 of those, finding a new spot, same thing. And you can do that on 2 to 3 sections of each leg. So I'll move over to the other side. And it doesn't have to be super long, maybe 30 seconds total per side. A little bit of movement, then a little bit of trigger point, and then moving to another spot, same thing. Heel coming in and out. And that's gonna release some of that tissue so that you can get into a deeper squat. Then for the pecs, this one's kind of interesting. You're going to come down on the foam roller and kind of have it at about a 45-degree angle coming out of the chest, and you're gonna use the edge of the foam roller to kind of massage into that chest muscle. So almost like you're in a push-up position, then you can bring the knees down, come all the way down, and then the foam roller is gonna kind of just stick out at that 45-degree angle. And here you're just gonna roll, again, 2 to 3 inch oscillating movements. This is gonna really get into that chest muscle. And then for the trigger point release, static, and kind of think wax on, wax off here, but just static in that same position. That one is a great one to release the pecs and get fuller range of motion with the shoulders. Then you can just come over to that other side. We're gonna see what happens with the microphone here. I'm gonna move it over. 45 degrees. Maybe even using the other arm to pull that in. And then those 2 to 3 inch oscillating movements. You're basically like right up in your armpit because that's where all the pec muscles come together. And then from there, that kind of wax on, wax off movement. Great, okay. Then let's do a little bit of biphasic stretching. So for the quads, since we're gonna be squatting, let's do that hip flexor stretch. You might remember from last program if you were in the program. You're gonna squeeze that back glute, inch forward about 2 inches, ease out about 1 inch. Do it again. And just do this until you find your comfortable end range, keeping that heel planted. When you get to that end range, think posterior pelvic tilt. So kind of squeeze the butt under, pulling the front foot, the heel towards you, and thinking kind of the opposite movement, pulling the knee forward. For 3, 2, 1, that should really help focus on the hip flexor, kind of come in and out of that. You might want to even do that 2 times, so feel free to do it again. Find your end range, tilt, press, hold, squeeze. 3, 2, 1, and then other way. Other leg forward, couple inches forward, easing out. Do it again. For me, I really feel this side because of my hernia repair, so just know there might be some different movements, tilt and press. Some different sensations side to side, that's perfectly fine, but don't overdo it if you have any prior injury. And then that second time, really posterior pelvic tilt, really squeeze. That tilt is what's gonna make sure it focuses a lot on the hip flexor and nowhere else. All right, then for the upper body, let's do a little bit of activation with an incline setting. So it could be on a bench, could be at a wall. I'm gonna use this elevated barbell. So what we're gonna do is some barbell or whatever incline push-up, but I want you to get really, really solid and really turn the core on. And I want you to almost think about not just the push movement out of the incline, but almost like you're pulling your body into the bottom of that push-up. So it should look like this. You get that nice set shoulder, squeeze the glutes under, and then almost like I'm pulling my body into the bar, and then pushing out. Set the shoulders, squeeze, really solid plank position. And just 5 of these. So that was 3. Set the shoulders, squeeze, pulling the body in. And last one. Other little tip there, make sure you're not just kind of leaning out on the pinky edge, but really pushing into the thumbs as well. Another way to feel that is same thing with an isometric hold. So if you just press into your pinkies, you'll notice you feel the chest, but kind of the outer edge. If you press into the whole hand, including the thumb, you'll feel the whole chest engage. So you want to do the same thing with a push-up, whether that's on the ground or on an incline. From there, we are kind of in the grow part of the warm-up. So we've already activated, we've stretched. Let's prime those patterns. For the squat pattern, we're literally going to do squats to prime the squat pattern, but they're going to be body weight. So I want you to think kind of hip distance apart. You might have your toes out a little bit, or they might be straight forward. That just kind of depends on your hips and your comfort. And I want you to think, make a fist and put it into the other hand. And just like we were just doing, really press those into each other. So you're turning on your pecs, you're turning on your lats. That should pretty automatically engage your core as well, but if not, really tense up your core like someone's gonna punch you in the stomach and you wanna be ready to receive that punch. And then think knees out a little bit, not like rotating, but just turn on your glutes a little bit. And at the same time, think squeeze the adductors in. So you kind of have like some balance there. You're pushing out and squeezing in, almost like you have an invisible ball between your legs and everything's tight, and then you're slowly coming down for 5, 4, notice the knees tracking out, not caving in, 3, 2, 1, and then coming up quick from the side, looks like this, hand, pecs, chest, lats, knees, adductors, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just to the point where you control, not where you're tucking under, so not too low. And then one more, kind of that 45-degree angle so you can see hand into fist, turn on the pecs and the lats, knees out but adductors in, like you're gonna receive a punch, turn on the core, and 3, 2, 1, perfect. And then we already activated the chest with the push-up, but I'm gonna show you a little mobility for that as well. In the past, I think I have shown you kind of high, mid, and low for a little bit of a pec stretch. However, I've learned a slightly better way to do that for your shoulder capsule. So, let me just show you. Before we were doing kind of like this, but this really puts your shoulder in a position where it's almost like you're about to dislocate your shoulder, which we do not want. So instead, if you're at a doorway, that's fine, or if you're at a squat rack, that's fine, but make sure that you get this whole forearm up against whatever you're pushing into, and then I want you to think push into the elbow more so than the hand, because that puts that shoulder joint in a not so great position. But here, if you push into the elbow, and then of course the hand a little bit, you'll feel more of the pec and not the shoulder, which is really what we're after. We don't want to pull the joint out of position, we want to get into the mobility of the pec and release it. And then you can take that opposite hand and kind of give yourself a little massage there, almost like we did on the foam roller on the ground, okay? And then same thing, make sure the full forearm pushing into the elbow, and then maybe giving yourself a massage in the pec near the armpit with the other hand. Ooh, yeah, that felt so good. All right, couple shoulder rolls to wrap up the grow section. And now we're just going to activate. So if you were in the last program, you know we did 5 jacks and then a jump. You can absolutely do that again. That's a great body weight variation. Or if you happen to have something like a med ball, which is like one of the heavier balls, you could also do a med ball slam. So I'll kind of show you both, but you only have to do one or the other. We'll do 5 jacks, and then I'll show you a jump, and I'll pick up the ball and slam it. But you could just do a slam, or you could just do a jump. I just want to show you both. And we'll do 3 rounds of this. So here we go. Make sure you don't have a tripping hazard. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here's my jump. Using the arms, pick up the ball and slam it down. Take a minute. If you were in like a HIIT cardio class, you'd do that over and over again. but we are not in a HIIT cardio class. We are just getting the nervous system ready to go. Second round, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, jump, grab the ball if you have it, slam, one more coming up, walk it out, and last one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, jump, and slam. You're warmed up, let's get started.